In this lesson, we are going to learn about saving data to Cloud Firestore. We'll start by understanding how Cloud Firestore works and how the data is stored on Cloud Firestore, and then we'll use the Firebase SDK to save some data on Cloud Firestore using our Ionic application. So let's head back to Visual Studio Code. Inside this application, we'll create a new page where we can perform various operations on Cloud Firestore. So I'll use the Ionic CLI to create a new page. Let's call this page as Firestore, but you are free to choose your own name. Now that a new page called Firestore is created, I'll rerun the Ionic serve command. I'll also change this URL to point to the Firestore page, which is the page on which we'll be implementing all the Firestore functionality. And there we have the Firestore page. For now, I'll close all the other files in this application and just open firestore.page.ts file. In this file, we'll write the code to add some data to Cloud Firestore and save it there. But before we get started with writing the code, let's have a look at Cloud Firestore and understand how it works. So head back to your Firebase console and select the database section from the left. Because this is a new account, we will have to create a database first. So click on Create Database and select Start in Test Mode. Click on Enable, and this will take a while and create a new Firestore database for you. Once a database has been created, you can start saving information in that database. The way Firestore works is that it organizes your data into collections. So all the data that is similar goes into a collection, and each entry in a collection is called as a document. If you are coming from the background of a relational database, you can think of collections as tables and documents as rows in those tables. In a relational database, inside each row, you store data as columns. However, in a NoSQL database like Cloud Firestore, you store data as a map of key value pairs. This is very similar to how you store JSON documents. So let's go ahead and click on Add Collection button right here to add a new collection to Cloud Firestore. Let's call this collection as products, and inside this collection we'll store information about some products. Each document inside a collection is identified by a unique ID, and you can allow Firestore to define these IDs for you. So I'm just going to click on Auto ID, and this will generate a unique ID for this document. Inside my first document in this collection, I'll define a field called product name, and the value of this product is going to be iPhone X. I'll also define another field. Let's call it product price, and this will be a number, and I'll set the value to 1000. That's all the information I want to save for now. Click on Save, and you can see that a new collection is created called Products, and inside this Products collection, you only have one document, and inside the document, you have two fields, product name with the value iPhone X, and a field called product price with a value 1000. You can add more documents inside this collection, and that's how data is organized in Cloud Firestore. So now that we know how Cloud Firestore works, let's quickly go back to our Ionic application and add a new document inside the products collection using some code. So here we are back inside Visual Studio Code, and the first thing I'll do is import Firebase. Once Firebase has been imported, inside my constructor, I'll go ahead and write the code to create a new document inside the products collection. And I can do that using Firebase.Firestore, and here we have a number of functions. The first function that I want to use is the collection, which takes in the name of a collection that we want to perform some operation on. So in this case, the name of the collection is products, and on this you can execute a function called add. The add function allows you to add a new document to a collection. and this add function takes in a JSON object. The ID for this new document will be assigned by Firebase, and Firebase will ensure that this ID is unique across all your other documents. So let's go ahead and add two properties called product name and product price. The add function also returns a promise like all other Firebase functions, so you can use the then function on this. And if the then function is executed, it means that the document has been successfully added to your collection. And in case an error occurs, you can handle that using the catch block. For now, I'll just log the error message to the console. Let's save that, and as the application loads up, we should get a log in the console with either the success message or an error message. So you can see that I have this long error string, and after that I have a message successfully added new document. If we go back to Cloud Firestore, you can see that a new document is added inside the products collection with the same values that we defined in our code. So if everything works fine, why do we get this long error message in our console? And this is because the changes that Firestore is going through. Firebase is updating a few things about Cloud Firestore. So you need to make sure that your application is compatible with those new changes, and when those changes are rolled out by Firebase, your application will not break. And that's what this error message is about. This is more of a warning that Firebase is giving us because we have not added a setting in our Firebase code. So let's go ahead and do that as well. So inside our app.module.ts file, right after the code with firebase.initializeApp function, we can go ahead and type in firebase.firestore.settings, and inside the settings function, you can pass in a JSON object, and the only property that you need to pass in is timestamps in snapshots, and you need to set it to true. That's it. That's all the change that you need to make. And now, as your application refreshes in the browser, you can see that you do not get that red error message anymore, and you directly get the successfully added new document message in your console. If you go back to Firebase console, you can see that a new document is added. So now you have a total of 3 documents. And because the first and the second documents are exactly the same, let's go ahead and delete one. So now that we know how we can save new information on Cloud Firestore, let's have a look at how we can get this data from Firestore and display it in our application.